Good afternoon, guys. So today I will continue my reading. He killed his family and became obsessive about his addiction, big verdicts, boozy, and drugs. He somehow balanced both, but was always on the edge of disaster. Then he lost a case and fell off the cliff for the first time. The firm hid him in a designer spa until he was sufficiently dried out, and he made an impressive comeback, the first of several. When does he get out? Tip asked, no longer surprised by the idea and liking it more and more. Soon. But Nate had become a serious addict. He could stay clean for a month, even years, but he always crashed. The chemicals ravaged his mind and body. His behavior became quite bizarre, and the rumors of his craziness crept through the firm and ultimately spread through the lawyers' network of gossip. Almost 4 months earlier, he had locked himself in a metal room with a bottle of rum and a sack of pills in what many of his colleagues viewed as a suicide attempt. Just committed him for the fourth time in 10 years. It might be good for him, Tip said. You know, to get away for a while. Chapter 7. On the third day after Mr. Pound's suicide, Hart Geddes arrived at his office before dawn, already tired about anxious for the day to begin. He'd had a late dinner with Rex Palin, followed by a couple of hours in a bar, where they fret over the wheel and plotted strategy. So his eyes were red and puffy, and his head ached, but he was nonetheless moving quickly around the coffee pot. Hark's hours rate far yet. In the past year, he'd handled a nasty divorce for as little as $200 an hour. He quote 350 to every prospective client, which was a bit low for such an ambitious DC liar. But he got them in the door at 350. He could certainly pad the billing and earn what he deserved. An Indonesian cement company had paid him 450 an hour for a small matter, then tried to stiff him when the bill came. He had settled a wrongful death case in which he earned a third of 350,000. So he was all over the board when it came to face. Hark was a litigator in a 40-lawyer firm, a second-tier outfit with a history of infighting and bickering which had hampered its growth, and he longed to open his own shop. Almost half of his annual billings went for the overhead. The way he figured it, the money belonged in his pocket. At some point during the sleepless night, he'd made the decision to raise his rate to 500 an hour and to make it retroactive a week. He'd worked on working but the Palin matter for the past 6 days, and now that the old man was dead, his crazy family was a lawyer's dream. What Hark desperately wanted was a will contest, a long vicious fight with packs of players filling tons of legal crap. A trial would be wonderful, a high-profile battle over one of the largest estates in America, with Hark in the center. Winning it would be nice, but winning wasn't crucial. He'd made a fortune and he'd become famous, and that's what modern lawyering was all about. At 500,000 and at $500 an hour, 60 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, Hark gross annual billings would be 1.5 million. The offer had of the offer had for a new office rent, secretaries, paralegals will be 500,000 at most. And so Hart could clear $1 million if he left his firm and miserable firm and opened a new one down the street. Done. He gulped coffee and mentally said goodbye to his cluttered office. He'd bolt with the Palin file and maybe one or two others. He'd take his secretary and his paralegal, and he'd do it quickly, before the firm laid to claim to any of the Palin fees. He sat at his desk, his pulse racing with the anticipation of his spanking new venture, and he thought of all the ways he could start a war with Joe Stafford. There was a there was a reason to worry. Stafford had been unwilling to reveal the contents of the new will. He had questioned its validity in light of the suicide. Had Hart had been rattled by the change in Stafford's tone immediately after the suicide. Now, Stafford had left town and refused to return calls. Oh, how he longed for a fight. At night, he met with Libby Gale, Palin Jeter, and Mary Rose Palin Jackman, the two doctors from Troy's first marriage. Rex had arranged the meeting at Hart's insistence. Took both women had lawyer at the moment. Hart won them as clients. More clients mean more clothes at the bargaining table and in the courtroom. And it also means he could bill each one of them 500 an hour for the same work. The meeting was awkward. awkward. Neither woman trusted her because they didn't trust their brother Rex. TJ had 3 layers of his own, and their mother had another. Why should they join force when no one else was doing so? With so much money at stake, shouldn't they keep their own lawyers? Hart praised but gained little ground. He was disappointed, but later charged ahead with plans to leave his firm immediately. He could smell the money. Okay, that's all from me, and thank you. Evil